Undertaker might have got a massive payday and a very easy victory at last Thursday's Super Letdown, returning to WWE for the first time since last July to win a match he wasn't even in, which could be the most WWE thing ever. But sometimes even starting a WrestleMania feud with AJ Styles isn't enough when you have to get angry on your wife's behalf. Undertaker is married in real life to former WWE Divas Champion, Women's Revolution, Michelle McCool, and they're both publicly annoyed by WWE missing her off a list of the promotion's greatest ever female champions. The article in question is a WWE.com photo gallery of 45 of the best wrestlers to have ever held the WWE or NXT Women's Championships. In honor of the Women's History Month we're currently in, there's Becky Lynch 2 belts, current NXT champion Rhea Ripley, even one-time Divas champion and all-time WWE icon legend, future Hall of Famer Alicia Fox. But the poor WWE.com lackey who was likely told, "Put together an article about lady champs," about an hour before it was supposed to go live, missed off two-time Divas and two-time Women's Champion McCool. Michelle was on the main roster between 2006 to her retirement in 2011, where she was actually the first ever Divas Champion, beating Natalya at the Great American Bash in 2008. And up until this year's Rumble, she also held the joint record for the most women's eliminations from the first match in 2018. So Michelle herself McCooled WWE out, pun. Real talk, when you've put up with more in past than anyone would believe, simply because I'm The Undertaker's wife, have rarely been mentioned for making any contribution to the women's revolution. But wow, not even in the top 45, hashtag zero talent, hashtag Undertaker's wife, hashtag Lakeall who, hashtag had to speak, hashtag still blessed. Adam Blompier wouldn't have made that list mistake. He never makes list mistakes, because he makes the best lists in the world. Every Sunday on WrestleTalk's YouTube channel, subscribe. McCool continued screenshotting and replying to her own tweet. For record, not a shot at any girl on this list. Respect to all. Just felt the urge to speak up and remind all to know your worth. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Afterthought? Nobody? Nope, you are worthy. Hashtag real talk, hashtag still Undertaker's wife. So WWE.com hastily updated the list. We've made some pretty cool updates in italics to this Women's History Month gallery. See which trailblazers we've added. Michelle McCool, hashtag Bull Nakano. You're gonna have to pun a lot better to get out of this one, official Twitter account, because Michelle continued, "Wow, so honored. I speak truth. Never asked him for anything, worked my butt off, but this definitely got this because of who my husband is. Face with rolling eyes. Hashtag afterthought, hashtag Undertaker's wife, hashtag still blessed." Real talk, I 100% believe this cool update to the WWE gallery was because of me speaking out with hashtag Undertaker's wife hashtag, and whoever runs the account doesn't want to upset him, who frickin' knows. I also 100%— Whoa, wait there a second, McCool, The Undertaker's tweeted something. In a still depressingly non-kayfabe world, The Undertaker does indeed have a Twitter account, and he's used it to call out the WWE's updated lineup, simply saying, "Too little, too late." Unbelievable! 2 exclamation marks. I don't know why Undertaker using 2 exclamation marks makes me so sad. Undertaker will reportedly be at next Monday's Raw to fully start his WrestleMania program with AJ Styles, which I'm totally sure he'll bring his to-wake trophy to. What do you mean you left it in Saudi Arabia? It's almost like you don't care. And it's speculated he'll interfere in AJ's match with Aleister Black at this Sunday's Elimination Chamber. Undertaker is well regarded as the ultimate professional and locker room leader backstage, so the McCool criticism will likely be resolved before then. But it is rather unprecedented for him to speak out and publicly criticize the company he's been so loyal to. McCool certainly seems to have a chip on her shoulder over how she was treated backstage in WWE for going out with the dead man, as she told Lillian Garcia's podcast last year. "I can literally count on 1.5 hands how many people in WWE treated me the same pre-Mark and post-Mark." That's The Undertaker's real name. "I haven't changed, I'm not acting any different, so don't treat me any different. But I got some talents. I'm not just his shadow, I'm not just his sidekick, I can do a lot of things. It's hard because I wouldn't wouldn't personally treat someone like that. On the bright side, it shows you who your true friends are. But a grumpy Undertaker might be the least of WWE's worries as the worldwide coronavirus epidemic continues to spread.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. The coronavirus disease outbreak began in China late last year and has now spread across the world with over 90,000 confirmed cases and over 3,000 deaths, making the mortality rate over 3%. The epidemic has seriously affected the worldwide economy and society, initially with cruise ships being quarantined and airlines suspending all flights to reduce potential contamination, to now more recently spreading to talks of school closures, companies making people work from home, and even discussions over whether or not to cancel this year's Summer Olympics in Japan. And with anything this globally significant, it's starting to affect the wrestling industry. Last month, All Women Japanese promotion Stardom announced that they're taking the precaution of cancelling their shows until further notice. They will still run their big Korakuen Hall show on the 8th of March, which will be broadcast on YouTube, but no fans will be in attendance, making it an eerie 28 days later style empty arena event. And just last week, the country's biggest promotion, New Japan, announced they were cancelling a run of big shows in March because of the outbreak, not only scrapping their anniversary tour, but also one of their biggest annual tournaments, the New Japan Cup, which had top stars Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, Kenta Suzuki, White, Okada, Ishii, and more in. With so many large public gatherings now in danger of being cancelled or postponed, Stephanie McMahon told the Tampa Bay Times over the weekend, the health and safety of not only our fan base but also our superstars really does come first. We don't want to put anyone in a bad situation ever, regardless of the circumstance. Those are not risks worth taking. With WWE's Executive Vice President of Special Events, John Sabor, adding, given the number of live events that WWE does, it's constantly monitoring global events. When they said that over the weekend, there are about 50 confirmed cases in the United States, and now 2 of those are in Tampa Bay, where WrestleMania is going to take place in just 4 weeks' time. According to the Tampa Bay Times, 2 people in Hillsborough County, Florida, have tested preemptively positive for coronavirus, prompting the governor to issue a public health emergency in the state. Hillsborough County is where WrestleMania is scheduled to take place. Apparently, the second person caught it from living with the first Hillsborough case, who appears to have contracted the virus in a trip to Italy, which had the first European outbreak. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with WrestleMania, and to be frank, if that gets cancelled, we'll have a lot more to worry about than how WWE are going to get the title off of Goldberg. WWE have now started taking precautions for their roster. PW Insider is reporting that a meeting was held backstage before Monday's episode of Raw to go over the latest details on the coronavirus epidemic, going over how the wrestlers and crew can protect themselves during their extensive travel schedule, airports and planes being partially responsible for how quickly this virus has spread, and how to deal with being exposed to a lot of human contact by meeting fans at live events, meet and greets, and just generally being out and about. Fightful has added that the meeting was pretty run-of-the-mill, and it was more of a precaution from WWE to inform their roster to prevent some worst-case scenarios. It's serious stuff, and not one I really know how to transition out of into the story about Ricochet getting buried. Quick, Patreon bumper! Thanks for your support on Patreon, Blake the Crafty Carpenter Carpentsman. After some initial promise when he was hastily called up to the main roster last year as a tag team with Aleister Black, remember that? Feuding with AJ Styles for the US title over the summer, Ricochet has seen his stock in WWE fall almost as impressively as his 630 spinny thing. In the build to his feud with Brock Lesnar, he was frequently made to look like he didn't belong in the main event, and then got utterly squashed in 90 seconds at last Thursday's Super Letdown without getting in a single piece of offense. And now, just 4 days later, he lost pretty decisively against undercarder Riddick Moss for the 24/7 championship on Raw. We're talking about Ricochet here, one of the most athletic wrestlers in the world. The guy who backflipped into that Adam Cole superkick and who broke the internet with Will Ospreay in 2016. Unfortunately though, despite being one of Paul Heyman's projects, it appears Vince McMahon has decided to give up on Ricochet, as Dave Meltzer reckons something in the last few weeks, possibly that terrible Lesnar feud, which is mostly WWE's fault, not his, has caused the chairman to give up on him. Ricochet's done, it's Vince. You know he may change his mind next week, but this week he's done. He's so done. This was a burial without a doubt. WrestlingNews.co have added that McMahon never saw Ricochet's appeal despite Heyman pushing him, which is apparently behind the decision to have him squashed by Lesnar last Thursday. Possibly in reply to this, Ricochet tweeted a photo gallery of him losing to Lesnar, AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, and Cesaro following his latest burial on Raw. But where's Michelle McCool? Hashtag Undertaker's wife. It's not known the exact length, but Ricochet apparently still has a long time left on his WWE contract. This is very similar to the case of Cedric Alexander, another Heyman guy that was getting a featured push on Raw over the summer. Then, all of a sudden, Vince reportedly decided he didn't like him anymore, and Cedric lost over and over again to AJ Styles and has been barely used on TV since. So of all those initially reported Paul Heyman projects, which have successfully included Buddy Murphy, Drew McIntyre and Aleister Black, Andrade, Humberto Carrillo, Ricochet and Cedric Alexander have all been buried, lost a lot, or got a wellness policy suspension. If only there was some kind of trend over there of who gets pushed and who gets buried. What's going on with the Elimination Chamber? Watch our predictions video by clicking the video on the right, and if you haven't already, please check out our new wrestling RPG series No Roles Barred on Parts Unknown. It's Dungeons and Dragons for wrestling. Click the video below that to watch it now. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.